From Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, I'm David Gavri, and this is the Vegas Faces podcast, where we talk with Las Vegas locals about what it's really like to live in the City of Lights. Whether you're living in Vegas, moving to Vegas, or just visiting Vegas and looking for new adventures, together let's discover the hidden gems that make Sin City the most visited place on earth. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Vegas Fast Facts. These are short clips about specific topics from right here in Vegas. I'm David Gavri. I'm a Las Vegas realtor with Realty One Group Summerlin, and today's topic is moving to Las Vegas, starting a new life here, as well as being a home decor artist. With us today is Tova Gold. She is an artist, a content creator with over 100,000 followers on TikTok, and she was on the HGTV show Color Splash with David Bromstad. This is going to be really fun. I'm super excited to have this today. Tova, thanks for being on Vegas Faces Fast Facts. Let's get right into it with, what was it like telling your family that you want to move your family right here to Las Vegas?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. Hi, thanks for having me. That's funny that you started with that. We were living in San Diego. We're originally from the East Coast. So moving from Jersey to San Diego already shocked our family. We were there for 6 years. And when we decided to move to Vegas, it was very fast. Whenever we do these things, it's very fast. And I called my mom, and it was the middle of COVID. And I was saying that the house we were renting, they wanted to sell it. And we were looking for houses, and they were so expensive. Like, we had been saving up since we moved there for like 7 years to buy a house. And we're like, it's not really worth, like, we can't find anything. You get like a shack for $1 million. I was stupid. She's like, so what are you going to do? I said, well, we're going to move to Vegas. She thought I was joking. She's like, no, really, what are you going to do? And I'm like, no, really, I think we're going to move to Las Vegas. And she was like, why Vegas? And so I told her all the reasons that we had figured out very quickly. And she was like, you know what? Sounds like it's not a bad idea. Keep me posted. And that was it. We moved we made the decision to move super fast. I don't even know if you know this. So it was September 2020. They were selling the house we were renting, and we started looking for houses. And I had been watching the real estate for years because we had been looking for houses for years. And I could see it just like go, like every single day. And then my husband was looking, he was looking, and he came to me early October, and he said, I was looking, and I'm like, maybe we move a little east, maybe we move a little north so we can afford a house that's like reasonable. He's like, so I just kept following the map all the way to Vegas. I was like, that's a joke. We're not going to move to Vegas. Who lives in Vegas? And I just happened to see a friend that weekend, and I mentioned, like, Ellie mentioned we should move to Vegas. She said, oh, so-and-so's mom lives in Vegas, like a mutual person we knew. And I was like, she ended up contacting this woman who contacted me, all without I wasn't proactive. And before I knew it, I had a Vegas real estate broker calling me and saying, oh, I heard you want to move to Vegas. And I was like, no, what? She said, listen, come for the weekend, and I'll show you the different neighborhoods. And that's it. It's a weekend in Vegas. Who doesn't want a weekend in Vegas? So we were like, okay, this was like the second week of October. We came to Vegas for the weekend. She showed us some neighborhoods. She showed us the schools we might want, all the different things. And we were like, okay, this seems reasonable. But we came home, like 2 days later, this house popped up online. And my husband and I looked at each other. And also, even if we had moved, we have kids. It was October. We were like, we're not moving till the end of the school year. So it's early. It's stupid. Why are we going to move now? But I was also, like I said, watching the real estate, and it was the election year, and everyone was like,
losing their minds.
We're going to think about moving, or after the new year, we're going to think about moving. And I was like, what's happening here in San Diego? It's going to happen everywhere. I could just feel it. So by the end of October, we bought this house.
Amazing. Wow.
In a month, online. Didn't even visit it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, well, but okay, so let's get into that, because you do home decor in like the most unique way I've ever seen. Like your TikTok videos, like you'll explain it way better than I will, because I mean, one of your most popular videos is literally your gummy bear chandelier. Is your gummy bear chandelier complete yet? I know you've been working on that for a long time. And I know that sound like people right now are like, what the F is he talking about? A gummy bear chandelier.
Do you see all of those?
Wow. They're all
Every
hanging.
single every single strand is a different color. They've got
Wow.
like crystals at the top and the bottom, and they're all going to hang off of the light fixture up there, but it's going to be a different light fixture. I still
Wow.
have the purples and the pinks, and yeah, it's pretty insane.
What I wish I had asked you, but are these like actual gummy bears that you buy from like the candy store, or these are like gummy bears that you made, right?
These are all hand poured resin gummy bears. Every batch of 8 bears is a slightly different color so that they all create like a slow gradient blend.
Wow.
Um, yeah. And then each strand has 7 bears. And the 8th bear, I've been putting on buttons that I've been selling to my people that say everything is always working out for me.
Oh, that's smart. Wow. You've got right behind you your stained glass pantry door. You've got
Yeah.
your beautiful neon lights on your island over there. Like, I mean, you have a floor in your powder room that's made of pennies. Like, I've never seen anything like that. Where does where does that come from? How did you come up with such ideas like that? It's really fascinating how you do it on TikTok, where you don't just like post the finished product. Like, you post like every like work day that you like the entire project. Talk about the show that you got to be on with David Bromstad. Like, just
Okay.
all of that in general is really fascinating to me. I don't even know how we categorize that, but
So the house itself, when we saw it online, and I understood the way the house worked. Our realtor came, did a walkthrough, and I was like, the house was all brown. The kitchen was so old, but I just could see right past what was there to like what I would put there, and I knew that if we were going to invest in a home, I wanted to invest in something that I could really make into almost like a canvas. Like, this has become like a canvas for my creativity and my art. And I try to bring like color and joy and positive energy into my work. So being able to create elements in my home that speak to that and make people feel that when they come to the house is super important. Part of that is having lived in rental houses in San Diego for so long. San Diego wasn't a great fit. Those houses weren't a great fit. And I always felt a little out of sorts. So coming here and being like, I'm going to just fearlessly put my stamp on this and make what I feel will make me happy from the outside in and the inside out simultaneously. And that's also a big part of my social media persona or whatever it is, this idea of bringing joy proactively into your life through positive mindset and positive environment and things that make you feel good. So all of it comes together. This wall that's changing color behind me. So right now it's an eating counter. You know, it's a little wall with this things. The makeover you mentioned on HGTV was back in 2010. It was 2010, and it was our house in New Jersey. So they came in. Actually, they came in at a point in my life where I was really in a very dark place, which is part of why I do what I do. You know, designing into this joyful decor. They came into our home and gave us a makeover. And they built an entire color changing wall with these panels that they custom created for us and did as a full floor to ceiling install in like I guess it was like a 12-foot wall. It was huge and it was amazing. And then when we moved and I had to disassemble it, I was like, it was literally like where the vents were, it was cut, where the outlets were, but it was all these like long, heavy panels, and they traveled with us to our 2 different houses in San Diego. And then when we moved here, I was like, I am going to find a place to install my wall because I mean, it's one of a kind. It's made out of powder coated aluminum. And they were doing it before everybody was doing all this stuff with colored lights. It was like a long time ago. And now I had it installed there, and it's just this like stupid,
so
fun, beautiful, weird thing that I love.
like you said, like it makes you happy, it makes you feel good. Like that's a huge thing, like in people's lives. Like that's part of why we moved to Vegas in the first place, was just the 300 days of sun. We came from Chicago, lovey Chicago in the summertime, but other than that, I mean, it's like dark, cloudy, gloomy, super cold,
Really
and you
hard.
can't get fresh air, for like 3/4 of the year,
Yeah.
because it's so cold. So like you said, surround yourself, not just with positive people, but in a positive environment. And I mean, it's so fun just watching the colors change. Like it's it's such a
No,
fun
right?
background.
They're just like, on. Oh, that's just normal for a random person for your personal house, you know?
I mean,
But
I
yeah,
don't know. It's
yeah.
awesome. Like, have you always, if you did that show in 2010, like, did that kind of spark your artistic creativity to do such projects around the house like that? Like, I really thought your pennies floor was fascinating. Like stuff that, like, if you if you got a contractor and you were like, hey, I want you to how much for the gummy bear chandelier and the pennies floor? I think their brain would explode. I don't think
Yeah,
they would. Like,
in
so
fact,
how do you think of this type of stuff?
so how do I think of it? My brain does weird things when I let it just be free to be itself. I don't like, I don't do like Pinterest and then like, oh, I'm going to make that.
Hmm.
I kind of look at the way things are made, and take bits and pieces of things that kind of just, I call my brain like a compost bin. So sometimes something will just go in and it's like churning, and it could churn sometimes for years until something falls out. And I'm like, oh, that's how that happened. That thing I
Um,
saw back in the 90s mixed with this random thing that I stumbled upon. And like, I shop at like, I like to go to like weird stores that sell like trade materials that have nothing to do with anything I actually need or want, in order to look at how things are exist and how I can repurpose them in a different environment for a different reason. Things like that just get my brain sparked. And then I just try, like, let's see what happens if I mix this and this, what's going to fall out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And those are also the things I share on my TikTok. Like, I think there are a lot of, there are a lot of people, but I think I speak a lot to like middle-aged women like myself who have this creative energy, but life has kind of tempered it, and fear and judgment and all those ugly things that we don't like to talk about just kind of like dull the shine. And so, and specifically like trying something new and it might fail. People get like so caught up in like, oh, what if I do it and it's ugly? What if I do it and it doesn't work? What if I do, like, and it just kind of like, I love, for me even, because I need that and I needed that for many years, just like, who cares? Let's just go for it. And
yeah.
everything is always working out for me, even if I do this thing and I waste these materials and I throw it in the trash. I've learned something. It's going to go in the compost bin. It'll find its way out with the lessons learned, and just
It like
just go.
Tova, you have I don't know if you're able to. We won't mess with the camera, but you have like a giant gumball machine that you filled up with disco balls, right? I don't know if we could
That
see
is
that.
right
It's so
there.
cool. Yeah, it's like yeah, and it lights up. Like it's so
It
fun.
lights up.
Uh,
I yes. It
it makes me
was
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, here, what were you going to say?
No, no, you go. You go.
Okay. It was I got that gumball machine. It was filled with disgusting gumballs from the 90s from a friend that I met. This is a cool Vegas story, actually, if you want. Um, you know, the Charleston Antique Mall down, it's not at the Charleston, the Antique Mall down in the Arts District, where
Okay.
there's like different booths, right?
Yep.
Um, that was one of the first places I started going when I came here. I'm like, where are all the cool, quirky, weird stuff? And there's one booth in the window of that antiques mall that I would go to all the time, and I would take pictures and videos because they would have interesting things. And one of the primary things that they had were these and like vintage pieces of art that had been painted over and outfitted with neon lights, like, you know, lighting art. And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. That's so cool. So I would always take pictures of it. I bought in that booth another gumball machine, like a old traditional red on a, you know, on a stand. So I have it upstairs in my game room. I have a gumball machine that I bought in that booth. And I was always like, I want to know how to do this kind of art with the lights, right? Like the
Yeah.
lights. And then I went to the fantastic indoor flea market, on Oki.
Yes, yes. The
And I
swap
was
meet.
chatting with somebody. Chatting with people in Vegas is amazing. I know a lot of people are like, people aren't friendly. And I'm pretty sure what you get is what you give, because I show up, I talk to people everywhere. I love the people here. They're so warm and friendly. And so I was chatting with this woman in an art and craft booth. And she's like, "Oh, you remind me of my friend Kristen. I want you to meet her, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." We exchanged like Facebook. And about 2 months later, she messaged me and she's like, "I'm going to this craft fair thing with my friend Kristen that I wanted you to meet. You want to come?" And I was like, "This is weird. Like, I met this woman once, but you know what? Throw caution to the wind. I'm going." Her friend Kristen was the artist who made the art that was in the antiques
No.
mall that I had in my phone. And I was like, "Oh my God, like, I manifested you. I wanted to meet you, and here we are." And she got me that Gumball machine because her and her boyfriend get antiques and old things to put into their booths. And they were like, "Oh, I know you like Gumball machines. You bought one from me before I knew you existed. You want this one also?" And I was like, "Hell yeah."
Wow, that's
Isn't that
fantastic.
weird?
I love that. Yeah, I just love your overall aura, your positivity. I mean, some people think like, oh, that's like quirky, hippy dippy, but it's like it works. It really does work. Like when you like, I think a lot of people who are maybe in a negative space, they're just like too cynical, perhaps, and they just think like, oh, that's not possible. But like, it sounds silly and cheesy, but it does work. I mean,
I have been in lots of negative places. Like I have, I would have. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, so like I'm cynical. I'm skeptical. I'm not like that like woo woo kind of thing, and I don't like the toxic positivity of like faking a constructed version of our like existence. I don't believe in that at all. In fact, for me, the positive thinking is the most at this point. Like I say, everything is always working out for me. That's kind of my tagline. Everything is always working out for me, which sounds so cheesy, but I'm always like, especially when it isn't. And what that does is it takes the really, really hard stuff. And I mean, in layman's terms, it's like, oh, the silver lining, but it's not just fake. It creates an environment where you're training your mind to accept the reality and direct a outcome that benefits you as best as it can given the circumstances. And the circumstances could be shit. I mean, there are hard, real, bad, difficult things. Like my version of woo-woo doesn't dismiss those. It sort of anchors to it so that you understand there's always going to be the yin and the yang and the black and the white. And it's our I was going to say our job, but it's actually our ability. Like it's a gift to be able to choose and then train your brain. Cause I didn't for so long. I've had hard stuff and like, I sometimes worry that like I look at my own shit and I'm like, am I too like, blah, 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 blah. But in the end, it's all we have is like the proactive choice to stay positive and bring that light. Also, the most beautiful part of it is bringing it to the surface for myself and then watching the people around me who may be more cynical or in a place of darkness kind of feel seen and maybe bring their light up. That's one of the primary things I love about doing the social media, to be honest. It's fun to show off my stuff and get the dopamine hit and everything, but it's when people comment and say that either it inspired them to do something creative when they were afraid or postponing or like telling themselves they couldn't because it had to be perfect. When they make that leap or when they start seeing themselves through a more realistic light that allows them to let the light in, that's what it is. Did I
yeah,
go too
it
deep?
makes you a human. It's not just the person who does the fun projects around the house. It's also, okay, let's talk about a real human experience and how I managed to come out of a negative moment or situation, and here's what worked for me. Maybe it works for you too.
Right. It's like sprinkle little bits, little like little bits help. And if I can, sprinkle a little bit for somebody by showing them how to make a colorful door that then they can look at, because people have done that. Like I made that up, the door thing, just to upcycle the pantry door that was there. It was like one of those old fashioned pantry doors. But then other people were like, oh, I'm going to do that too. And then they send me video of it. And I'm like, and now they get to look at it in their home. I just think that's so
fun.
cool.
Wow. Do you have any kind of background in how does one even know how to do stained glass or because some of the things that you do requires heavy duty construction, or at least it seems like it does. What did you just kind of figure it out as you went? Did you have some kind of arts and crafts? Again, I don't even know how to.
I'm an artist. I mean, I've always done art, though I've always my whole life done art as a career for a commercial. Like I was a product designer, graphic designer. I worked in computer arts, digital arts. So I've always done that professionally. But no, this is like the first phase of my life where I'm actually doing hands-on art and figuring the stuff out. And I think it's the compost bin. So like how I figure it out is sometimes I'll watch the stuff. I don't save it. And most things to me, the way my brain processes is very three-dimensional. So most things that I see, my brain immediately starts deconstructing how it got that way. So like for the stained glass to me was like really obvious and simple. And then when I posted it and people are like, why are you saying this is obvious and simple? Like I taught myself how to cut glass. Like there was a little tool in the craft store that said glass cutter. I'm like, okay, I guess it cuts glass. Here's the glass. There's the cutter. I haven't there were times, like I said, where I let myself get bogged down by the fear of what if I do it wrong, or I don't know. Like with the penny floor, this is actually my second penny floor. My first penny floor was in my house in New Jersey. I did it when my oldest daughter was born. I did it on maternity leave. And at that point I figured out, so people do penny floors. Now they do them. I did mine 16 years ago. No, but I never saw anything like it. But I wasn't going to sit on the floor of the bathroom and glue pennies to the floor while I had a newborn, right? I was going to watch TV. So I figured out, like, when you buy regular tile, they come on a mesh and then you lay them. So I was like, well, then I'll just get mesh and make my own tile.
Penny tile.
So I made a template and then I laminated it. And then I put mesh on it and I taped it down with packing tape. And then I just glued pennies to that template over and over and over and over and over and over again until I had enough tiles to cover the floor. And that was just pennies. So that was just like a plain gridded pattern of pennies. It's one of the things that sold that house to the second person who walked in the door. You know, she's like, I've seen 70 beige houses. I'll take yours because it isn't beige. And so when it came time to do it here, I was like, I knew my penny tile floor. I could take you in there, but it'll probably make you dizzy and mess up your cameraman. But it's a pattern of pennies and nickels, and it's got like a penny nickel tile border and like a what's that diamond pattern, like almost like an argyle, but it's not. There's another name for it. I don't know. But yeah, so I did that, and I just you can see it all on my TikTok. I document the process. I go through like, oh, I was using this glue and it didn't work, so help me find a new glue. Anyone have any suggestions? And I really like try to keep it human and accessible, so people are like, I want to do it too.
Yeah, because everyone's figuring it out with you. Like we're figuring it out together. Yeah. Do people try to hire you, or people like Tova build me a penny floor, or build me a stained glass this, or can you? Do you ever get requests?
It hasn't happened yet, probably because I don't jump on it. I'm kind of still in my me phase with it. I'm like, no, I'm going to finish. My gummy bear chandelier is the biggest project I've taken on to date. I started it a year and a half ago. And then my kitchen flooded. I did not move into this house anticipating this renovation. The kitchen flooded and we were forced into the renovation, and it took a year. And while they were doing the renovation, I put the gummy bear chandelier on hold. That's the thing that sort of drew my audience to me at first, was the gummy bear chandelier went viral. And now a year and a half later, I've picked it back up and people are still like, you're still working on that? And I'm like, yeah. And at the beginning, I let the pressure of like, people are rating, like get to me. And like you asked me, like if I can maintain all of that, I like have consciously moved into my own brain and been like, no, like I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let the pressure to accommodate an algorithm or an audience who I love my audience. I got the best audience, but I'm not going to let those things steal my joy or my schedule. Like I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. I own my own business with my husband. Like I do that all the time. Like I'm doing it less these days because I've been really distracted by my gummy bears, but I have a full life. And people are like, why is this taking so long? And I'm like, because there are some weeks I look at it for an hour and a half and I'm okay with that. And that's what keeps me happy doing it, right? Though I did speak to my contractor yesterday, and I have an install date, which means I have a deadline. And if I have a deadline, then that means I'm like getting down into like get her done mode, which is exciting.
You're probably really fun for contractors who do probably the same old over and over and over again. And then they come to your house and they're like, wow, we haven't gotten to do projects like this before. That looks fun.
Depends on the contractor. I love my contractor because he loves me. Like I shift plans. I do my own thing. So they're waiting. I do my own backsplash. I don't know if you can see that over there. Can we see? Over there.
Oh yeah. You did that? That's like mirrors, right? Little mirrors?
Mirrors. And then they're octagon. And then the square in between is different color handmade tiles that I bonded clear glass to paint swatches from the paint store. So no two tiles are the same exact color and they create a gradient blend, sort of like that piece of art behind me, but different. So I have repeating themes, but my contractor worked with me. And like when I was laying my bathroom penny tiles, my actual contractor was laying this black tile trim behind me. He only spoke Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. And yet we spoke the same language. When I was like, my black grout's not black enough. Can I get some of yours? And he was helping me. Like my contractors loved it. And they indulged me. They really, really did. There are other contractors, and there was one or two that came along, like, you can't do that, or, oh, I'm going to have to charge you more, like I'm going to nickel and dime you for these little tiny, changes along the way, or you could just tell when, if they find my creativity and my need to kind of push it into the space annoying, like this wall, he was going to do whatever it took to make it happen. Wow. Like a lot of contractors would be like, don't waste my time with this nonsense. Like I got else places to be. And so my contractor, like,
did he help you with the penny floor? Was that also,
well, he didn't by that point, because it's my project, but he made sure, like, oh, look at that. There's the penny floor. Nice. Yeah. Wow. So he made sure that everything happened on schedule. That dresser that's there, that's an antique dresser that I found also at the Antiques Fantastic Indoor Flea Market. And I repurposed it as a vanity. And he helped me figure out like how to cut the drawers, how to make sure it fit in place. Like I can't say enough, like just a real mensch.
Well, Tova, speaking of that, really, thanks for being here. You've been a true mensch yourself. And I can't thank you enough for your time and just diving into all your fun, creative projects and how exciting that just all of it, that even though it seems done from my perspective, it feels like, like you were talking about the compactor, like I can't wait to see more of your ideas that come out of there and what that'll look like.
Yeah. As soon as I finish that gummy bear chandelier, I'm moving on to the fireplace.
This is awesome. I can't thank you enough, really. Like, this was really, really fun. So I hope you had a great time too. Before we wrap this up, where can people find you on all your platforms, your TikTok, everything else?
So my primary platform where I do the most content is on TikTok at Tova Gold Art. It's the same on Instagram. I'm actually at Tova Muchness Gold on Facebook for whatever reason. That's it. I have YouTube, but I haven't put anything on there. But if they get rid of TikTok, that's where I'm going to be focusing my efforts. So also Tova Gold Art on all those platforms.
Tova, seriously, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what projects are coming next. I'm excited to also see the completion of the gummy bear chandelier, and no rush on that. I don't want you to feel the pressure. We're all waiting, but no pressure.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you for subscribing to Vegas Faces on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok under the name Gavri Group. That's Gavri Group. Thanks, everybody. See you at the next episode.